All right, good Monday morning, everyone. Thanks for stopping by for a quick check of your forecast. Hope you guys are doing well today. We had a very nice sunset last night. This is a quick look at that time lapse there from Bushland, Texas. Some of the high cirrus clouds moving through provide us with some nice pinks and oranges there before or just after the sunset over the horizon, just before 6 p.m. We've got 8 days to go, and then that's when we start to see the sunset after 6 o'clock. So our days are getting longer, and we gain about 30 minutes of daylight through the month of January. We gain even more daylight through the month of February. But let's take a look outside right now. Water vapor imagery showing all those high clouds now back over Oklahoma and North Texas. Just a few still streaming over the region right now, but really clear skies and quiet conditions on deck for today. So it's going to be a nice mild afternoon for you. Winds generally should be light as well, under 15 miles per hour from the west and then the northwest. So I would encourage you guys to get out and enjoy the day today if you can. Tomorrow as well. Tomorrow may be a little bit windier, but we will see some strong winds come through on Wednesday. Wednesday is going to be one of those days, in my opinion, it's my least favorite kind of weather, when the high temperature also could match the peak wind gust, where we're talking like 60 for a high, but also peak winds gusting maybe as high as 60 miles per hour as well. That next weather maker right now currently pummeling California with some moisture and heavy precipitation. Lots of rain and snow out there in California, and even parts of Nevada seeing some light snow at the moment. Hey, Michael, Mike, Tina, and John, thanks for tuning in. Here's your current temperatures: 37 in Amarillo, 29 in Dumas. Winds very light, under 15 miles per hour right now. We do expect them to be a little on the light-ish side for an hour or two. We may see winds become sustained at 15 and maybe even close to 20 miles per hour for a short while. But once the trough comes through and we see that northwest wind today, we'll see the winds die down behind it. So really going to be a nice day to get outside. So do that if you can. Dog walk forecast looks like this. Tough up here. Thanks, Debbie, for sharing a picture of your pup. Looks like he wasn't real happy with the outcome of the Dallas and the Washington game yesterday, but hopefully Dallas getting rid of their loss before they move into the playoffs. Seems like that's a reoccurring issue every year. But temperature-wise, we'll be at about 63 this afternoon for the high temperature. Next weather maker, going to be a lot of wind on Wednesday. Here's our next upper level low, coming directly over the Oklahoma Panhandle, so that leaves all the rain and the snow to our north up in Nebraska and Kansas. Lots of rain starting to overspread places like Arkansas and Louisiana late into the evening on Wednesday night into Thursday, and then that marches through the southeast U.S. where they're going to be smothered with some heavy precipitation with that system. Unfortunately, we are dry, looking likely for some fire weather concerns. Our strongest winds right now, we've got them at 50 to 55 miles per hour. That's where they'll gust to. We'll see sustained winds around 35 to 40. But does look like the most likely area where that low-level jet can mix down to the surface will be in the southwest Texas Panhandle and eastern New Mexico. So places like Tucumcari, Clovis, Hereford, Friona, Dimmitt, Tulia, Amarillo, Vega. That's kind of where we think the strongest winds are going to come through with this system on Wednesday. That's where we'll likely see critical fire weather conditions as well, and then elevated fire issues for everyone else. One caveat, and again, I've already mentioned this a couple of times this year, our traditional fire weather season's February through April. One of the limiting factors we may have this year is just a lack of fuel source. We don't have a lot of grass in some areas. Most of us really didn't get a substantial amount of rain. There was a big spot from Canadian and Shamrock to Amarillo and Dumas that had near normal precipitation during the summer. So we do have average, what we would consider average fuel loading there. There's a fair bit of grass in spots out there, but the rest of us in general have a lower than average fuel load for this fire season. So that's maybe the only caveat as to why we don't have an overly active season, just because there's not much to burn in some places. Here's your Barron computer model for today and tomorrow. We'll have winds from the north and northwest today. Temperatures go unaffected by that, but we will see them climb into the 60s this afternoon. And then for your lows tomorrow, they tumble into the 30s, and then we end up with a very warm Tuesday, toasty Tuesday. Lots of 70s out there, feeling like a nice early April afternoon rather than January the 10th. The warm weather is going to continue moving into the middle of January, all the way through about the 18th, expecting temperatures to stay above average. We may have a couple of disturbances come through in the middle of the month. Does not look like they're going to be very cold systems, but we may have a better chance after we get past probably the 20th, maybe the 20th to 25th. Looks like we may see a chance, not a good one, but that might be where we are looking at our next chance of notable precipitation. I wouldn't say significant, but maybe a chance at seeing above average totals for your precipitation in that time frame once we kind of get to probably the 20th through the 25th. So that's right on the outskirts of that 8 to 14 day outlook. We've got a 1 in 3 chance of being above normal in that time frame. And I would certainly start to lean towards maybe seeing a slightly above average chance as we go through the 20th through the 25th. So as we get closer and closer to that time frame, I do think you're going to see some of this green start to encroach a little bit further south. It may not get much further south, and the confidence is very low at this point in time, so you may not see it get above that 33%, but we do think that there's something that we have to keep an eye on in that 20th through the 25th time frame. Here's your highs for today. A lot of 60s out there, just a couple of 50s sprinkled in there up towards Perryton and Guyman. Lows will tumble into the 30s and 40s tonight with highs tomorrow, about 20 degrees warmer than normal. So we get to about 70 here in Amarillo. Childress, you could flirt with 80, 81 in Paducah, 68 in Boise City, and then 69 for your high out in Tucumcari. So Wednesday morning's lows back into the 30s and 40s, another mild start to the day. We do have some windy conditions expected Wednesday night into Thursday morning, but overall Thursday winds will be a lot lighter than they are on Wednesday. And we'll have a seasonal afternoon with that northwest flow and some colder air spilling south. But that's not going to last for very long. A lot of us get up into the high 50s and 60s on your Friday, and then a very warm Saturday and Sunday. Another mild weekend ahead of us for the second full weekend of January. Hey, Colleen, thanks for tuning in. That's all I got for you guys. Again, got quiet weather today and Tuesday, windy weather on Wednesday. Wednesday is one of those days where that temperature may match that peak wind gust, least favorite kind of weather here in the high plains. But again, it's just one day this week where we have kind of active weather coming through. But if you're going to be outside on Wednesday, you could have some difficulties traveling in a high-profile vehicle with that west wind pretty high, sustained above 25 and 35 miles per hour in some spots. Blowing dust looks like it's going to be a problem. We could have some tumbleweeds trying to keep some of the roadways covered with 2 to 4 feet of tumbleweed activity on those roads that have a berm or a fence built up next to them. So those roads like Eastern Street and maybe 385, the north and south oriented roads, are going to be the ones to keep an eye on if you're going to be out traveling over the afternoon on Wednesday. Hey, Darlene, thanks for tuning in. I will see you guys in a couple of hours for our next weather update. If anything changes, we'll let you know then.